Not many things divide opinion like fidget toys. Some people just don't get it, and for others it's a thing they can't live without. So I rounded up 10 different fidget gadgets to see what all the fuss is about, which I've been testing over the last few weeks. Now, some of these are designed for pocket carry and some are designed to sit on the desk, and some are affordable and some are eye-wateringly expensive, and some combine the fidget factor with practical use and others, well, don't. And whilst these might appear a bit pointless to some, there is evidence to suggest that repetitive pattern-based activities can stimulate your brain by increasing blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, which anchors your thoughts, reduces distractions and makes it easier to focus on the task at hand. And there's also a proven link between fidgeting and managing anxiety and stress by helping to channel excess mental energy and releasing tension. So improved concentration and focus and reduced anxiety and stress, all of which sounds pretty good to me. Okay, let's see what we have here. And as always, I'll include links to everything featured in the description down below. This is the ONO, and it consists of 2 frictionless rollers that orbit each other in the palm of your hand, and it's claimed to calm restless fidgeting, soothe busy minds, enhance focus and relieve stress by the body's natural production of dopamine. Bold claims indeed, although I can say this does feel really good in the hand and has an addictive quality which I really like. There are 3 sizes to choose from. This one is the junior, it's the middle size and benefits from being pocket friendly while still fitting nicely in the hand. There are also 5 material choices affecting the feel and the weight. The one I have here is the aluminium version, which is a medium weight option and yet still actually feels reassuringly heavy. 2 other things really stand out about the ONO. One is the excellent quality. It just feels really well engineered and runs friction free. And the other is, unlike most other fidget toys on this list, this one is silent, which means you can use it anywhere without annoying those around you. And that can be a big deal in a meeting or a classroom or just sat in front of the TV with friends. I bought this one on Amazon in the US and it had over 7,000 reviews, of which over 80% were 5-star, which is pretty exceptional. The price shown for this model is currently $35, although with shipping to the UK and VAT it actually cost me £46, which I still think is really good value for what I see as a genuinely practical product which should last for years. This next one I'll call the gear spinner, and it's available from various different suppliers on Amazon under various different names. It costs around £20 or dollars and consists of a heavy brass block with 4 ball raised gears, which are topped off with these finger hold points. Holding it between the fingers allows it to spin freely, which in itself is quite satisfying, or you can hold it by the other 2 points which don't rotate, allowing you to spin the interlocking gears instead, which gives you a variety of fidget options. It's also really satisfying to sit this on the desk and just give it a spin, which goes on for ages. So this is something you more play with rather than engaging in a repetitive fidget action. So less of the therapeutic benefits on offer here, I would say, but it's still a nice thing to have, and the quality seems okay, and that £20 price point seems pretty reasonable too. No fidget selection would be complete without featuring what is perhaps the best known premium fidget maker out there, Lautie. They make everything in their own factory using their own precision tooling and techniques, utilizing various material alloys and controlling the quality from end to end. And they have a focus on design and high quality, and they also produce limited edition ranges supporting a collector's market. But all of this does come at a cost, as we will see. Now we have a few Lautie products in this roundup, and I'm going to start with the Lautie EDC Mechanic C ring spinner. This is designed for the fingertip, and the user experience can be customized by changing the number, position and orientation of the internal magnets. Tools and extra magnets are provided, and it takes just a couple of minutes to make a change. You can go from a silent and smooth free spinning mode and then add a couple of magnets to create a ratchet feel, Add a couple more and we are told it will simulate the flicking of butter beads, and a couple more for a crisper clicking sound, although it never gets what you would call loud. And this immediately feels very comfortable in use and has a desirable and addictive action. And as you would expect from Lautie, the design, detail and quality is right up there. It's also very pocketable, and it ticks the box for that repetitive fidget action required to reduce anxiety and improve focus. This version is stainless steel and costs $90, so whilst not cheap, I can see the value here, especially if this becomes part of your everyday carry. And that customization option means you can endlessly update and fine-tune the fidget action to suit how you feel, which adds a whole new dimension. This is the Barrel X machine gun pen from Titania, and it's a titanium bolt action pen inspired by the legendary Browning machine gun. And this combines the practicalities of a pen with some double fidget action. Now there's a lot of detail in this pen, as you can see, and it feels well made and it looks good in this stone washed finish. And being titanium, it's lighter than it looks, coming in at just 45 grams, but it's still very tough. It also utilizes standard G2 refills, giving lots of options. Now, most bolt action pens can be described as having the fidget factor, and this one is no exception, with a really nice and quite loud addictive action. And if that wasn't fiddly enough for you, at the top of the pen we also have a fidget spinner perfectly located for your thumb. Titania referred to this as a meditation gyro to help calm stress and spark creativity. And in case you were wondering, right at the end here we have a ceramic ball which is for use as a glass breaker. So this pen can help to get you out of a stressful situation and then calm you down afterwards. And as for the price, expect to pay around $150 to get your fidgety fingers on one of these. The next one is a desk accessory, and it's made in the UK and comes from a company called Metmo, who make premium tools, which we've featured before on the channel. It's heavy and it's expensive and it's pretty amazing. It looks like a block of steel, and in a way that's exactly what it is, but it's more an example of ultra precision state-of-the-art engineering. Let me show you what I mean. The block has two angled pieces which slide in and out, and the tolerances here are so fine, a 5/1000th of a millimeter in fact, that they are very hard to spot when seated in the block, and you have to turn it upside down to get one to emerge. And there are two cavities in here which hold each piece, and they're connected by an airway, so when you push down on one piece the air forces the other up, and eventually the air leaks out and both pieces eventually settle back down into the block. And this does have some fidget appeal, but it's really more about appreciating that something like this can actually be made in the first place and isn't from another planet. And if you want to know how it is made, I'll link to another video in the description below which explains all about a technology called wire electrical discharge machining. And that wow factor doesn't come cheap. This costs £250, so around $330, but that's because these are very hard to make. In fact, if you want one, you have to go on a wait list, as they can only make 80 pieces a month, and currently demand is outstripping supply. This is another offering from Lautie, and this is perhaps their best known fidget toy, the Shuffle KK fidget slider. This one is from their 2099 series and features a Joker skull with this red copper inlay. The Lautie design aesthetic really appeals to me, and I'm not quite sure why, other than I've always had a thing for skull iconography and steampunk styling, which encompasses a lot of what Lautie do. This slider has a poker theme with the double kings imagery, which perfectly fits the card reveal slider action, which is enabled by strong magnets and a double slider rail and this corner pivot, and is a two-step and quite loud affair. The loudness and very precise, firm action is what makes this so addictive, along with the shape and the weight, which gives it a worry stone type feel, which really works. And despite the fact that this is quite heavy for its size and performs no clearly defined function as such, this has weirdly found its way into my pocket and is rapidly becoming part of my everyday carry. I find it calming when I end up, say, wasting time in a queue or waiting for someone or something. I've also found myself using it during creative thinking tasks. It's therefore no surprise to me that this is one of Lautie's best sellers, and that is despite the price, which is a wallet-sucking $150 for the stainless steel version and $217 for this lovely black zirconium version, an alloy which is stronger and lighter than steel. I should perhaps say that my wife doesn't really get this at all and stared back at me a bit like the Joker skull when I mentioned the price, but she was wearing a neck pendant at the time that cost about the same and didn't see that as a problem, and that doesn't even do anything. So if you want one, just tell yourself it's jewellery that benefits your brain as you whip out your credit card. And speaking of credit cards, this is the Mech wallet from Puncube, which, like the pen, mixes practicality with fidget appeal. It's a card-only wallet that at the time of filming has just been funded on Kickstarter with around 3,000 backers, and it's made from aluminium alloy, comes in a nice box, looks super cool, and does this. A slider action with a fidget feel. And if you're so inclined, you can continue the fidget experience once the cards have been revealed, which is actually quite satisfying. I found this works best with 6 smooth cards or 4 embossed cards, and there are a couple of other versions available in the range, one with a smooth mechanism and one with a 3-stage magnetic mechanism. Retail price is going to be $99, but as I record this, it's available to pre-order at $69, and I'll include that link in the description below. Here we have another offering from Lautie, the Devil's Milk Cap Haptic coin, and this one is inspired, we're told, by a milk bottle lid, presumably in the US, and feels like a heavy coin in the pocket. We have a red copper skull logo here, which is part of the 2099 series, which you might notice is subtly different on the opposite side. Again, I love the design of this. The coin is in 2 halves and it rotates using the thumb, producing a softer sound than the much sharper click of the KK slider. So less likely to annoy those around you, but for me, less satisfying too. The 2 halves are held in place with 6 magnets on each side, and there's a caged roller bearing for smooth action. The small size is the appeal here, which makes this easy to carry along with another desirable and addictive fidget action, and that superb Lautie quality. As for the price, this comes in at $110, which seems high to me, higher in fact than the Mechanic C, which at $90 seems to offer a lot more, making this one much harder to recommend. If this is the one for you though, and you have the budget, you won't be disappointed. This next item is by far the cheapest in this lineup at just £4 or dollars, and yet it's one I can't seem to stop messing with. It's called the Impossible Cone, and I got this one from Amazon, and rather depressingly, it was the one thing out of all these under test that my teenage daughter got excited about, because apparently it's all over TikTok. It's 3D printed, which in itself is a bit strange, and it's made from a shiny nylon material, although I'm sure a premium executive one will surface sooner or later. So let's see it in action. As you can see, this is more of a desk toy than a repetitive fidget toy, but it is still quite addictive as it seems to defy logic. One bit seems to go through the other. And I do find myself stopping what I'm doing to have a quick play with this several times a day. Now, it's not what you would call quality or visually appealing even, but in terms of cost to play value, it's pretty hard to beat. Last on the list is this. This is the Lautie EDC Carnival spinner, and in this configuration, this comes in at an eye-watering $365, making it the most expensive fidget toy in this lineup. And like the Metmo Cube, this is more like a piece of art. Again, more desk than pocket friendly, and as you can see, it is based around a roulette wheel design, incorporating Lautie's unique design language of the 2099 series, featuring a huge amount of detail, including the skull, this time hidden away at the base. And this Carnival spinner is made from something called cupronickel and brass. Both the outer wheel, in fact the whole outer body, rotates, as does the inner roulette wheel, which has 16 numbers, not sure why 16, for the balls to drop into, which in this case are made of steel and ruby. There's also a sapphire crystal cover in place, which is an optional extra, so you don't lose your balls. And there's a lot of fun to be had from spinning the rotating parts in different directions at different speeds, and there are gameplay options too with this in addition to the fidget factor. It spins for a satisfyingly long time, and there are details like this rubber ring around the base to stop it moving around and to isolate any vibration, which goes to emphasize that quality once more. And it really is an impressive and rather unique item. But with a starting price of $320, it is always going to appeal to a pretty narrow market. So there we have it. And my favorite out of all of these has to be the one I find myself putting in my pocket and using day to day, which is this KK slider. It's not cheap, but it should last for years. And that's followed by the ONO Roller, which is easy to recommend at the price. Well, I hope that's been of interest. Do let me know in the comments if there's a fidget toy or gadget that really does it for you. And I'll leave you with this video, which the YouTube algorithm seems to think you're going to like. So that's it for this one. Have a great day. And as always, thank you for watching.